All right, perfect. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and head over to main activity real quick, and then we'll see if we can take a look at the previews here, make sure that they're the same ones. But yeah, so far this is the what we built last time. So we have the search bar, and without even looking at the preview, it should be pretty straightforward. So we have this text field, and then it's an empty value at the beginning, but we have this on value change, which we're basically not doing anything at the moment. But what we want to do essentially is, obviously, when we change the value, we want to be able to filter out items eventually. I think that's towards the end. Other than that, we have some modifiers. So this is going to fill the width entirely. And then the height is set to 56 dp. But when we say height in, I think last time we discussed this, that means that that's the minimum height, essentially. So it can grow with our screen, but for the most part, that's the minimum, 56 dp. And then we just have an icon here. Other than that, we had some placeholder text for the text hint, and then just the default colors using the material theme. So let me see the preview here, what it looks like. If it shows, I think it should. There it is. So that's pretty much what the final result was for that composable function. And again, yeah, if you're not familiar with basically how Compose works for the most part, everything that we sort of see as a UI element is called a composable function, essentially. At least that's how we should be separating them. So we have the search bar here, obviously, and all you have to do is annotate it with composable, and then it's a function. So there are sort of different things that we've done that at this point have become sort of the way to do it, like passing a modifier to that composable function, which we'll dive into later on. But for the most part, this is pretty simple stuff that even if you don't understand it, I mean, you can sort of read it and understand it at that point. But again, if you have any questions, let us know. And then we'll continue from here. So we'll go from the search bar to align your body alignment. So this is going to be the next element we built, essentially. And what they want us to do is essentially make it 88 dp high. So the height itself, the spacing between these two, I believe, let me see, between the text and the image should be 24 dp. And then the spacing between the bottom of the element and the bottom of the text should be 8. So yeah, 24 text to image, and then 8 from text to bottom. And then the text should have a H3 style, I guess, for the typography. So I think that should be something that we have available to us. If we go here to the theme, if I'm not mistaken, let me see. Is there text style H3? Yeah. Cool. So I guess they kind of talk about it here. So to implement this composable, you need an image and a text, obviously. And then they need to be included in a column. So they are positioned sort of like that, in that vertical position underneath each other. So I think this is something that's already in place here, but we just have to modify it. Yeah, right here. So I'll go ahead and just give it a shot real quick. So we have a column. We can keep them vertical. And then we have an image. Oops, image. And then we have a text field underneath it, or a text, I guess. Just text. Painter. So this is going to be the resource, I believe, that we use. And then this is going to be the accessibility description that we have for it. I think for the content description, we could probably leave to null, since the image, we don't need it to be accessible for the most part, since the text is going to be what gets read out. So let's go ahead and just focus on these two. So the text itself, I believe we could just use the text that we passed to the element, but we'll check out whatever code they have here at the bottom after. This is just our way of approaching it for now. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, we'll call it, I don't know, element text for now. Just pass it here. And then for the resource, I think we have to say painter resource or something like that. Yeah. We should probably have something available to us. It's in the sample code lab. Let's see. Or I guess we could also pass that technically because this is going to be reusable. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll say element image type int. And then we'll just put it here. Element image. For now. And then do we have a preview in place for this? I don't think we do. Let me see. Oh, this is the data that we're going to be using. Perfect. So we could probably see what that looks like for the most part. And it seems like they already provided us the same thing that we passed to the function, which is great. So we're not off the ballpark there. And then what else? Oh, yeah. Align your body element. This is the preview. So we're going to be basically passing whatever we want to show. And for this preview, I'm pretty sure we can probably just do it for every element, essentially. So for the list that we get, or the list that we use, which would be this one, essentially, we can probably, yeah, just create this align your body element for each item in the list. I wonder if we have access to that. What do you think, Bismarck? Do we have access to this list from here? We should, right? Yeah. So let's see.
Yeah. You're talking about the list that's inside of the
this one right here. This one. So we should have access to this, I think, right? Align your body data from here. I think. Let me see. Align your body. Yeah, we did. We could probably say like something like for each, right? And just pop that in there. Modifier. Is this replace with repeat? What is it complaining about? Let me see. Oh, yeah, we haven't used it yet. Of course. Well, for the element image and the element text, I think we should have access to it by saying, I'm just going to put here, and leave it at it, actually. It's dot drawable. It's dot text. That should, oh, it's an integer. Yeah, okay. So this is going to be string resource. That text. That should work, I think. Let's see what happens with the preview. All right, so they're kind of all over the place, but for the most part, I mean, at least we're getting something, so that's good. Let's see what the code here says. So this is a basic implementation, I guess, that they had. And they passed the, I guess, one of the resources for the most part. Oh, and I forgot this, actually. So passing that modifier to the column, it's probably important. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Modifier. Go to modifier. And that should update some of the preview, I guess, with the padding that we just saw. Cool. Let's see what else. So yeah, notice that you set content description of the image to no, which we did. We did it for accessibility issues to avoid that. And yeah, they mentioned it here. So it's purely decorative. The text below describes enough of the meaning, right? And then we're also using a hard-coded image in text. I mean, we already passed like the elements that I think we're going to be needing, but I think I might have probably called that wrong since we're only getting, or it's kind of just stacked all over the place right now. Or maybe I clipped it wrong. I'm not sure. We'll see. The image. So for the most part, there are improvements that can be made. So let's go ahead and do this for now. I'll leave these unused just so we could see what they're seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and say drawable dot, and then let me see what we have here in the list. This one. And then r.string, this one. What does it want? Oh, we have to get string resource. Oops. All right, there we go. Cool. I'll just do that for now. Does that make sense for now? So far, like what we're trying to do, more or less. Like so weird.
Yeah, it's fine for me.
Leave it for now. All right, cool. So this is the preview that we're seeing, which is good. Now it's closer to the actual thing. And I think they wanted it to obviously have like the text centered and then the image circular. We haven't even touched the image height or anything like that, but we could probably do that now. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and try it real quick before we dive further in. There you go. That's getting formatted. All right, cool. So, all right, so let's go ahead and do this. They wanted the image height to be 88, right? So image, and then image, as we can see here, has like a couple different things. One of them being the, I guess the content scale might work, but let me take a look at this. Shouldn't this also have a modifier or something like that? Yeah, so modifier we use for the height itself. And that should probably work. Let's see. Or, sorry, modifier. There's something that we could play with. Yeah, height n. And then the minimum is going to be 88 dp. Something like that. So it's going to be the minimum height. And then we also have to make a circular. That I'm not sure how to do here yet. So I'm going to wait on that. And then we need to have some spacing in between the text and, yeah, the baseline of the text and the actual image as well. Okay. We could probably do that by, again, playing around with the modifier here. And if I'm messing this up, we'll probably find out in a bit. So we'll go ahead and say modifier dots. I guess it's going to be like, I don't know if there's something like space or align. No, not really align. Well, align we need as well for centering it. But now, trying to see what we can play with here that will allow us to give us that, or I guess the space. It could be like margin. I don't know if they have that here, or padding, I guess, for the most part, padding. I say top within that, maybe top. Oh, top, yes, top 24 dp. And that should give us some spacing once it updates. All right. So it did. And then they want some spacing to the bottom as well. So we're going to have 8 dp to the bottom, which I think we could probably pass here as well if we do like bottom. Yeah. So 8 dp. And this, yeah, we'll continue from there for now. All right, yeah. So here they're talking about the actual clipping of the image, which is cool. We actually need that. So this is what we have more or less. And then they talk about size. So the size modifier adapts the composable to fit a certain size. So it's, yeah, similar to the math fill max width, which we've done for the search bar. And the clip is what changes the shape itself. So we need is crop technically. And we can use content scale, which we saw earlier for the image. That's one of the one of the parameters here, content scale. Cool. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Content scale. Content scale crop. That should update. And then they mentioned size, but I think, well, I'm not sure what to do with the size yet. Let me double check here. And for the most part, what we're seeing here is the preview itself, but I think since we're not passing that to the modifier in the preview, we're not seeing it, or I don't know, maybe we are, I'm not sure, but let me see. Yeah, it's not showing it here, but I know that we did make the change. Like if we were to run it right now, I think it would, what is this app? I think it would actually run and show us this as you expected, but I think the preview itself needs to be updated. I'm not sure. I'll double check that. But for the most part, oh, look, it's a little different. Okay, so here, what they're doing is they're using the modifier that was passed essentially for the column, and then they're using modifier to actually adjust the size. So instead of what we did, which is, I guess what I did, which is modifier the height in, we're gonna be using size instead, and then they actually passed the clip here. So we're saying content scale, but I think content scale just means the actual sizing, which is what we're referring to here. So that was my bad. I was wrong. But we still keep this, so that's good. I'll go ahead and change this to size. And then instead of being 8080p, I think size just takes like the, let me see, 88.dp. That's the, yeah, once you do that, it'll basically set the size entirely, I think, for the width and the height to be whatever you pass in. So this is going to be like a set size, if I'm not mistaken. And then clip. So clip. The shape itself is going to be circle. Well, I don't know if it's shape. Let me see. Oh, still compiling. Still compiling. All right. Let's import that in. Come on, give me something to work with. All right. Oh, circle shape. We're typing in shape.circle. Shape. There you go. So now I should be updating that. And then I think, what else? Oh yeah, the text. We haven't centered the text yet. By setting the alignment of the column. In general, to align composables inside a parent container, you set the alignment of the parent container. So instead of telling the child the position itself, you tell the parent how to align its children. Okay, so it starts at the column, essentially, what we want to do. So for a column, you decide how its children should be aligned horizontally, right? Makes sense. So start center horizontally, and for a row, you're going to have the top, center vertically, and bottom. And then box has all these different ones. So all of them will follow that, but you could override the behavior. So basically, what I understood from that is that we want to set some sort of default behavior for the children, and then have the children override it if needed. But this should be matching like what we want most elements to look like, essentially. So since we want most of this to be centered vertically or horizontally, this is what we're going to be using. And then this seems to be the keyword. Let me double check. Or not here. Sorry, it's in the column. Column. So horizontal alignment. That's what we're going to be using. And then just setting alignment dot center horizontally. So horizontal alignment dot center horizontally. Hopefully that works. Still updating, still rendering. Let's see. All right, it did it. Any questions so far? Any callouts?
Questions?
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else. So I think that's. Oh no, we're almost there. Okay. So all the containers will follow that pattern, etc. Yeah, we talk about that. With these parts implemented, there are only some minor changes. So they want to make the image and text dynamic, which we talked about. Pass them as arguments to the composable function. Don't forget to update the corresponding preview. And pass in some hard-coded data, which we have access to. Update the text to use the right typography style. Right. And then update the baseline spacings of the text element. Cool. So for the text style, let me see what we have access to. I think we could probably use, just font style, and then use the material library or theming, I guess. So font style. Come on. Keyboard's going crazy right now. All right. Sure. And we could say, what was it? Type or let me see. So this is a class that's open. So we could just say typography.h3, I think. Typography.h3. So I should change the style of the text to max or at least match the style that they have over there. But I think, am I missing something? What is it complaining about? Okay. I mean, it's just, so text annotated string. Is it the order of things? Probably. Let me see. Do this. That, no? Okay. Then I have no idea. Let me double check what. Well, they wanted to do this on our own, so I'll leave that for last. Let's see what else. So they wanted us to pass in the dynamic text, which we have here available. And let me put drawable resource, string resource, just to make it a little clearer what they are. And this will be just integer. All right. And what else? Oh yeah, update the spacing. So we already did that, and then update the what was it? The preview. Pass in some hard-coded data. So let's take a look at the preview real quick. And for the most part, this is what we were doing, but I think this might not. Why wasn't this working again? Let me double check. So not string resource, it'll be it.text. And then drawable. So this changed how it's called, string resource. And then for the most part, the preview itself was sort of overlapping. So let's take a look at what's happening there. I think I ran into this before, or we have at least. And I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, it's a different, it's basically for the row, what you're doing there, um, the preview for the align your body element is only for the element by itself. So there's two separate,
Oh,
yeah.
I
There's
see what
one
you're
that's
saying.
for the align your body, the
Mm,
preview for the row, yeah. And then there's
right,
one separately for the
right. And then, well, I mean, for the preview itself, we could probably update what it takes, right? So I guess element, right? Something like that. And then, what was it? A drawable string pair? That's what it is. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, drawable string pair.
but
Or
not
yeah.
in the preview though, because the preview can't take parameters.
Oh, I thought it could for some reason. All right, so not like this. Okay, so not like this. And then you're saying the element itself, we could like
Yeah,
update
but
the
you don't
row.
need to do it for each because what you're trying to do is for the future for the next section. The first one is only to focus on the element preview, and the one what you're doing right now
Right,
for okay, I see you went back and changed it.
right. Well, I'm not sure. So you say so this one right here, the row preview, right? This is the one that shows all the different elements, which I think right now we don't have any preview set
Yeah.
for it.
So
Yeah.
then in the other one, I thought I saw you put a for each.
I had, yeah, I did. I removed
Oh, okay, you removed it. Okay, good.
it. Yeah, for the most part, I removed it, and then right. So to be able to get the,
Can
I
you go
guess the
back
list.
to
Yeah.
the element one, align your body element,
Right.
the one up top?
Oh, the actual element here.
Yeah, go all the way to the top. Let me see. Oh, okay. So align your body element. Oh, that's the discussion we had last time. Remember the drawable? It's at drawable. So they're using at drawable res and at string res. So that means that you would have to put the at sign in front of the drawable res.
Oh, I remember now, but I don't remember why. uh, I remember that we talked about this, but
Yeah, because remember we found out that just for resource
right,
control that they designed it such that they're using number
right, yeah, like the
assigning numbers to it instead of using the actual.
right. No, but I'm talking about the annotation itself. So like, um, right, like I get this, but why do we have to specify the annotation? Let me see. Let me take a look at this real quick. So
Yeah, so basically when you
yeah, I
use
got
the
it here. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you were saying?
you was asking why you were asking why we're using the annotation.
Yeah, like to specify. So I know that last time we covered it, and yeah, I remember us talking about this, but I don't remember why exactly we specify the annotation when we could just say like technically int, I guess. As you saw on the preview, it was still showing it, but the issue now is obviously like this is for the individual preview, like you mentioned, and then which makes sense. But if I wanted to see the row, right? I wanted to see the whole row, which I think is this one. how that would be called.
Well, they have a separate one up there for row. So if you go up, it should be,
Oh, like up here.
yeah, separate composable for row. So you just passed it, I think.
Did I?
It says,
Oh, right here. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
align
so
your
we don't
body
even touch
row.
that yet, technically.
Yeah, so we're not even really in the row
All
part
right.
yet. We're just creating each of the stuff that's supposed to go in the row. That's
Gotcha.
what you're doing, yeah, right now.
Okay, so then I'll go ahead and just use this for now then. This, so we could see the preview, and then we'll continue from there. All right. So minor rabbit hole to avoid, but for the most part that makes sense. Okay. All right. So let's see what else they want us to do. So we did that. We did that. We did not do the style. Oh, because I said font style, but it's just style. So that was my bad. Even though it's still an attribute, right, for the text. So we'll say style for now. Style, they go to font style, or sorry, typography, .h3. The header. And then that should update the preview itself. And the preview, yeah, they just have it hard-coded for the element. So we're good. There are other ways to get the same result, obviously. And then for the most part, they talk about spacer, which you could also use instead of like setting the padding. I think spacer is its own composable, if I'm not mistaken. Or yeah, seems to be. And then that allows, right, is that what it does? No, that's for the row. Or spacer. Spacer. An empty space layout, right? And then you can just modify it. So it's kind of like an empty view, essentially. But for now, I mean, I think the simplest thing would be to just set the padding itself. Cool. So we wrapped up number 5. Let's take a look at what the next element is. And the next one's going to be the collection, favorite collection card. So I'm assuming it's going to be more or less some of the same stuff. The only difference between the others and this one is that this one has like rounded corners. So far, this is the height and width that they're giving us, and then they want, I guess, an H3 heading for the text itself. So, with that being said, and then the image itself, I'm not sure how they want us to set this up for the most part. Like if they want it to be sort of like, I guess, cropped so that it's the same all around more or less, or something like that. But we'll take a look in a bit. So let's see what else they want us to do. So they didn't specify color, so we could assume that the color will be defined by the theme, such as for such a container, we could use material surface composable, which we talked about, I think, last time. And then you could adapt surface to your needs. You should have the ability to add round the corners with shape. So we could use shape for the image. Oh, wait, to set a shape. As for the image in the previous step, you'll use a value comment. Yeah, so I think, and then they have some documentation here which we could use. But I'm not sure if this will be helpful for this right now. Probably not. I mean, this is probably too much of a deep dive for this. So let's go ahead and just start off by having the image, having the text, and then going from there. So I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna go ahead and find the collection card, which should be this one. And then we're gonna do something similar, except it's not gonna be a column this time around. It's gonna be a row, since they're side by side. So it'll be row. This one's gonna be taking the modifier, right? All right, they go to modifier. And then we're gonna have composable row. Then we're gonna have an image, so an image, and then a text, or yeah, text composable. So the image, same thing. We're going to leave it a null. And the text, we're going to have something here. So we'll say drawable res. I'm assuming it's going to be the same more or less for as the other one, as the other element that we just created. Just follow the same guidelines. Then comma here. And we'll say painter resource, equal to drawable res. And the text to be string res or string resource, string res. And then we're missing a text style. Also, oh yeah, we don't need this. They just sit on top of each other. Perfect. And the text style itself will be style is equal to typography dot h3. And then they wanted the color because on this one, I think, yeah, we use that. They didn't specify any color for this. And that was one of the asks. So let me take a look here. Around the corners, they didn't specify color. We assume the color will be defined by the theme, such as a container. We use materials, surface, composable. I'm not sure how they use it though. Oh, okay. I don't want to go too far. So they use it basically setting it as the background. So instead of using the column as the parent view, we're going to be using the surface itself here. And then I think they want the modifier passed for the most part to this. And I'm not sure if they pass the modifier again to that row. Wait, did I just copy? Wrong one. All right, there we go. That's the body element. And go back. So I think we'll probably do it here. So surface. And this is the one. Modifier. Yeah, and then we don't need to have this modifier here. Should be updated. So let's take a look in a second. Oh, we're missing something down here. Yeah, we're missing the default parameters. So drawable res, and string res. Where are they? Okay, here they are. Cool. Yeah, any questions so far? Anything to call out?
Nothing from my side yet.
Awesome. I was hoping I didn't mess anything up. All right. Yeah, so obviously it's huge because we haven't done anything to the image. And then, we haven't set any height or anything like that for the most part. So they do want this sizing. And I'm pretty sure we could just do that with a modifier. So let's take a look here. So let's see. So before, so we have the surface, and then I think we could probably do it here to the surface itself, maybe. We do like size and height. Or let me see, width, height. All right, and then they wanted the 60p height and 100. I mean, I don't know if they wanted to just fill the max width, but I'm just gonna follow this. So 192 for now. And that should update the, I hope it updates Superior. Yeah, all right. So that's what it's looking like now. The text, we want it to be aligned, and then there's some spacing in between, but I'm not sure how much spacing they wanted there. Or maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves. This is what it looked like before, and then I went ahead and updated that for the most part. Oh, but I see they did something different. So they used the shaping. Oh, that's what it was for the rounded corners. So to the surface, they added this material deems shape small, which I'm assuming small would be the sizing of the rounded corners. Let's take a look. Shape is equal to, well, should be available. So shapes dot small. Shapes dot small. Try to work. So it imports. Which one's ours? This one. Yeah. And then right now the corners are, oh, they're rounded now. Okay, cool. So that worked. And then once we do that, then yeah, we already set all that stuff for the sizing. Except I'm seeing that they didn't set the size for the entire thing. They said 192 for the row, so not even the surface, right? And then 56 dp for the image. So that was interesting, and I wonder why. I mean, what difference would it make? Let's see. Let's start out with the. We'll start out with the height, right? So if we say, because that's what we would be updating essentially, I think. Modifier. So they want the size 56 for all of it. Oh, is that what makes it sort of the same size all around? Let's take a look. So we'll say, I'll do it at the bottom, I guess, how they usually do it. So modifier, go to modifier dot size, and then 56 dp. We'll remove this, I guess. Well, technically we don't really need this anymore here because it's gonna go in the row now. It's looking weird, but let's take a look. So the row itself is gonna take the width. So modifier is equal, oops, modifier. Go to modifier. What was it? Height, or sorry, width. 192 dp. Oh wait, I gotta move that. Do I? Let's see. Okay, sorry. So this modifier doesn't need to be referenced again down here, or yeah, we don't want to do this essentially, like, because we want the parent to have the modifier. So let me go back on that. And then here we just set like a new sort of modifier itself for that width. I think that's what they want us to do. Yeah. And then the content scale. So this is the other thing that we sort of forgot to add, because otherwise the image is going to show full size. And then also the alignment. So I know that was for the row. So we should probably be able to say, let's take a look at this. Vertical alignment. Vertical. To be alignment dot center vertically. Hopefully that works. All right, so I centered the text and then the image. So let's go ahead and do, what was it? Bit it up here. Content scale. Content scale. Trying to remember because sometimes it's just so many new things. And then this was crop, right? So content scale to crop. So now the image shouldn't be a rectangle, I guess. And then the other thing is we're still not there yet because the image, we have like a sort of padding around it, but I think that might be for the preview. So let's take a look. I think that's why it's getting pushed, if I'm not mistaken. And we don't even need it because it's a defaulted parameter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That should, yeah. I think it did it. I should do it. And then the other thing was the width or the padding in between these two, so the text and the image element. I'm not sure if they talked about that. No, theirs doesn't have it here. So make it dynamic. I think we did that. Yes. Up to the text, we did that. Up to the spacing, they didn't tell us how much, so I'm just gonna throw in a number to update it, and we'll do that here. Yeah, we'll do that here. So we'll say modifier, CO2, and then I'll just do this. So that we don't reuse the same one. And that's just what I'm seeing. I'm not even sure why I'm doing it, but it made sense at the time. So let's take a look. Padding start. Go to, let's say like 20 dp. I don't know. It's probably a lot. Pretty close to the original. Let's see. More or less. Like 16. And I think that wraps up this one. Hopefully. Let's see. Oh, look. I was right. Oh, except for this. I missed that completely. So I added padding on the beginning, but I didn't pad it. I didn't pad it on the end. So we're adding the horizontals to make sure that if it's small enough, it's not like pushed all the way to the right, and it looks decent, I guess, for the most part. Is there anything we missed? I think that's it. Okay. Cool. So right on time. It's 9:58. I don't think I'm going to start the next one, but we could take a look real quick to see what we're going to be working on. So yeah, they're going to work on the row next time, which is what we were sort of like trying to do for the most part before Bismarck corrected me that it was the element that we were doing. So we'll leave it at this for now, but definitely excited to dive into the row, see how it works. A couple questions that came up for me were, why we sort of have, instead of like reusing this modifier, right, that's been, I guess, passed down, or since we initialize it up here, why can't we reuse it at the bottom? Or why do we choose not to reuse it? Maybe Bismarck, but if not, that's something that I'm gonna definitely note for next time.
Yeah, because the row and the text have their own. So basically, you have the option to use a separate modifier for each of
Right.
the composables if need be.
Right.
So it's just the flexibility. That's the way I saw it, because the original modifier is coming from the user. So like when you when you look at when you go to the preview,
right, like padding
writing it. Right, the person writing
right.
it in the preview puts their own whatever with a modifier, right? But but sometimes that's not specifically what you want for the row. So you might not want that to be dynamic. You might want to put your own static thing in there.
Well, also a really dumb question from me, but it makes sense when you explained it. Yeah, so what you're saying is basically you don't want to apply it to every single element that, or every single child element that gets that's in here essentially. So if you keep saying like modifier and you have ADP, it's gonna add ADP and then whatever you mentioned in here.
Exactly, it's being passed already.
Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. All right, cool. Well, if somebody had a question, you know, or had that question specifically, now they know. All right, there we go. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna wrap it up here. And yeah, if you have anything else, let us know or let me know in general. But you know, welcome to the club, I guess. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I did want to ask you some questions about the meetup itself. So if you don't mind giving me a minute after we're done.
Yeah, sure. Let me stop the recording real quick.